Howdy, Howlers. It's Sako Toomey, also known as Castboy. I write horror, and I'm a witch, and I'm a graphic designer. And sometimes I do, all those things all together. And today I have a special guest who wants to talk accent and the things, pronunciation. How's it going, Joanne? How's it going?
Hey, Sako, nice to see you. Long time no see, yeah. I was busy, and I'm just here to make noises at you.
Excellent.
Okay, are you ready?
I am ready.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. So what is the question? It's like, uh-oh.
How it's spelled.
Yeah, like I spelled it in the chat, like uh-oh.
So one with an O and one with an U.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like,
thank you.
Yeah.
So, it was a short visit, but a sweet visit. So thank you very much.
No problem.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So
he says, uh-oh, back. Oh, that's so cute. That's so cute. Today we're going to read a little bit of Year of the Witch. We're going to talk about Mabon, which is technically a September holiday. Hello, Bonnie. Used to think it was uh-oh. Yeah, I can totally see that. Hello, Debbie. I did see your comments last night. I did. I just did not have time to respond to them. Or the brain meats to do so. I was kind of out of it. I was quite sleepy. I was quite the sleepy. Oh my gosh. But can I just bring up how cute Joanne is? Because Lord, Joanne and Jehen, you are precious. Indeed. I'm doing my daily hour in the kitchen while I listen. Cool. Thanks, everyone. The noise vocalizations are hard. They are. They are. Let me know if I can ever help again. I'd be happy to. Oh, this hoodie needs to come off, I think. I can't find like a comfortable in between. What are you caught on? I'm surrounded by cords. I would like wireless things. Oh. Oh, goodness. We are always here to help if we can. Absolutely. I'm not wearing socks, no. I am currently barefoot. I am considering socks, though. It's not my feet that are cold, it's everything else. And then if I'm wearing a hoodie, it's too warm. Comfort. That's all I want. I slopped my coffee all over the place right before the stream, so I'm going to be checking every once in a while to see if it's going to stain. I did my best to clean it up, but maybe my best isn't really great. How are you guys this morning? How are you guys this morning? Oh my goodness. The bedhead, it is strong today. I definitely prefer to be barefoot, but I have found that when I'm wearing socks, my body temperature regulates a lot easier. Also water, yeah. Shopping online and drinking coffee with us. Don't play back this video and look at my dirty kitchen. I did not notice your dirty kitchen. Same with the bedhead. I need to shave the sides, but I don't think my husband has gotten the hint yet. Colored half a page. All right. I wish I could say the same. I'm really behind on all my comic making. Hello, Jace. I'm excited about your game. But other than my flat, the writing is strong in me this week. Wrote double the amount than usual. That is awesome. Failing NaNoWriMo motivated me, yeah. You would think failing NaNoWriMo would motivate me as well, but it did not. That my logical brain is motivated. My heart is not motivated. And I have a few hours, basically, to work on Project Flambeau before I hand it back to BC. So I'll be working on that today, I think. Oh my god, meow. What is up, squirrel? I don't know what she wants. It made sense when the cat box was full, but now the cat box is empty. What is she meowing about now? I don't know. Whoa, meow, wow. Yeah. Hi, sweetie. Pabu Ikshu. Aww. How are we feeling? Are we feeling lonely? Is that it? No, she does that all day. She cries a lot. Usually if I am absent, she will cry the most. But she only meows when she wants something. So I don't know what she wants. When she zooms into the kitchen and meows, her food bowl is full, her cat box is empty. There's plenty of water. Don't know what she wants. Maybe she wants treats? I don't know. Aww, I have to go upstairs and provide kitty muffins. Okay. Mr. Spence is doing Christmas shopping in my office. It's inconvenient as heck. I have not done any Christmas shopping except for my husband. Because he and I are doing the things. But now, apparently, I'm going over to my in-laws' house for Christmas Day. One is a retired nurse, and the spouse is a germaphobe. So they've been particularly safe. We got through the wedding of their daughter, so that was back in October. Also, I relate to your blanket. Yes, this is my blanket. Half of my blanket fort is all of this. The other half is in a giant box upstairs that is overspilling with stuff. I need to see what it is I can get rid of. Because there is stuff in there that I don't use. But then again, there's stuff in there that I do use just at different times. Do I have different bags for different blanket forts? I don't know. I was going to do a Vlogmas video about blanket fort construction. I just don't know when I'm going to do that. I also didn't do yesterday's Vlogmas, so that means I'm doing double duty today. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh my gosh, it's already 11 minutes in. Jeez. Sitting here on my ass. So I will attempt to buy Christmas/birthday presents today. I'm going to spend a lot of money because my in-laws, I don't normally shop for them, but guess I have to this year. Yes, I said double duty, yeah. Good morning. Finally able to carve out some time to catch you live. Thank you. I've been really busy in the mornings lately. I got you. Yeah. You have been missed. We're doing something with my family, then going to the sister-in-laws. Yeah, I'm going to my sister-in-laws. It's not ideal, but it's important. Yeah, my husband, of all people, wants to go see his family because he is feeling under-socialized. He's like, it's just been you and me, and I need a little more. And I was like, I get it. I have been doing Vlogmas, just try to get comfortable with the camera. Oh, yeah, just trying to get comfortable. Hopefully I will have some kind of grasp on editing by the new year. Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys want to see? What should I do? What do you call someone who is afraid or nervous to pass gas? He's a tutor. Oh, that's so funny. Mr. Spence has a pretty distant relationship with his family. The only time they really connect is on Christmas. Yeah, so kind of important. I get it. Your Instagram posts are pretty, Bonnie. I'm sure you'll do fun with the editing. Usually the plans are last minute, but this year we have the whole damn month to prep, so I finally get to show off. Yes, you do. Cake and pie. Hi, Meow. Pabu. No, nothing, huh? All right. You could do a vlogmas on witchy herbs, meanings of stones, etc. Psychic protection, maybe? I guess I could. Cake and pie and rib roast. I see. I did the thing on baby witches. But describing, like they become less vloggy and more tutorial-y. I get you. I could do some witchy tutorial things, I suppose. Correspondences and whatnot. But that would be me just like listing stuff. And I don't know how interesting that would be. Oh, I finished my coffee. 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 Hawaii. Okay. So, Mabon. Harvest home, harvest end, autumn equinox, fourth spoke on the dark side of the modern wheel of the year. Autumn is a second spring when every leaf is a flower. Make a holiday themed tutorial. Psychic protection against your in-laws so you don't throw your hands at dinner. Actually, that's a pretty good idea. Maybe I will do that. Now I opened a package from them and it was full of their merch for Christmas. Oh, like merchandise? Is that what you mean? Oh well, at least there was chocolate and Santa in it. Love Milka, yeah. You are truly a baking queen. You are truly a baking queen. Absolutely. Okay. Should I go back onto Yule? We can talk about Yule today instead of Mabon. Michaelmas. Lilith's apple. When an apple tree is planted in the name of Asmodeus, the devil who tempted Eve, unless you believe it was the she-devil Lilith, should be written on earth and cancelled with a cross. Weird. Apple things. A non-traditional year. Creating your own wheel. We're coming to the end of this book. All right. Oh. Branded umbrella and duffel bag. That is kind of a knife in the back, isn't it? Be one thing if you've left, but didn't leave. You were let go or you lost it, right? Which means it wasn't exactly on your terms. Usually. Oh, it was consensual. So it was like you both decided that maybe it wasn't a good fit or something. Right before the holidays, too. Jeez. You paint or embroider or any other craft, cover it up, make it yours and special. You could. Depends on the materials it's made out of, too. Not all duffel bags are created equal. Hi, Pabu. Surveying your domain. Surveying your domain. Yeah. Such domains, surveying. Okay. I'm going to read this book for real. Because I kind of want to get to the making of your own year. Mabon is the name given to this autumn equinox. The autumn equinox is the second harvest festival of the 3 harvest festivals in the pagan wheel of the year, and it typically falls between September 21st and September 23rd. The autumn equinox divides the daytime and the nighttime equally, which allows us to take a pause before we are overrun with the darkness of winter. I couldn't work. It made me ill, so I had to leave. Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry, love. Mabon is considered one of the lesser observances on the wheel of the year, but it is also one of my favorites. It is the last festival in the light half of the wheel, and thought to be named after the Celtic Welsh god Mabon. Mabon is a god of light and was the son of the Earth Mother goddess Madron, i.e. mother. In Lugnasaf. In Lugnasaf, we watched as the god acknowledged his final decline before the cycle of death and rebirth. Mabon is a time when death is upon us. It is not as solemn as it seems, though, because we know we will be reborn during your time. Oh, he will be reborn during your time. This is the cycle, as it has been and as it will always be. As the second harvest festival, it's the time for joy and celebrating the fruits of one's labor. Alongside Mabon are the separate celebrations of Harvest End and Harvest Home. Harvest End and Harvest Home were times of gathering up the last harvest and a celebration of abundance. A traditional English harvest festival, Harvest Home, is celebrated today at the last day of September when towns are decorated and corn dollies are made to represent the spirits of the field. The god Mabon. Mabon is the name of a Celtic god and the son of Modron, who was the Great Mother. Similar to Demeter and Persephone, Modron mourned the loss of Mabon after he was abducted 3 days after his birth. Mabon was imprisoned inside of a stone wall but was later released. It's interesting how two separate cultures have created similar stories where a god and goddess was for some reason taken away from the earth against their will. In their absence, winter falls on the earth, freezing everything in its path. This is, of course, the cycle of life, but it is interesting how similar stories persist across various parts of Europe. Michaelmas. The equinox was converted to a feast day in the Catholic Church. Michaelmas, known as the Feast of St. Michael and All Angels, is celebrated and observed on September 29th. This day is considered a quarter day, along with the spring equinox and the two solstices. St. Michael is not a traditional saint, but an angel. There are many witches who choose to work with the Judeo-Christian angels, so for those who do, acknowledging this feast day would be relevant to their spiritual practice. In many folk practices, there are witches who choose to continue working with the Abrahamic concepts after they excommunicate themselves from the religion as a whole. To them, being a pagan or witch doesn't necessitate the thought that those concepts of angels, saints, etc. are off limits or in any way no longer valid. For example, according to Jake Richards, author of Backwoods Witchcraft, Appalachian folk magic practitioners often use the Christian Bible as a sort of spell book. Yes, that is true. Saint Michael is the leader of all the angels in the army of God. According to scripture and tradition, Saint Michael has 4 responsibilities: combating Satan, escorting the faithful to heaven at the time of their death, championing Christians and the church, and calling men to their judgment. I thought that was Gabriel thing. As the year turns again and again from light to dark, the celebration of Michaelmas took hold throughout the British Isles as a way to encourage protection during the cold and dark winter months. There is a proverb that goes, eat a goose on Michaelmas Day, want not for money all the year. Being as how Mabon doesn't have any traditions directly associated with it, this is a suggestion that could easily be adopted. It is thought that this proverb originated from Queen Elizabeth I. When she heard the news of the defeat of the Spanish Armada, she was dining on goose and decided that she would partake in it every Michaelmas Day from that point forward. Lilith's Apple. When I was 15, I was given a lovely vintage book called The Complete Old Wives' Lore for Gardeners by Bridget and Maureen Boland. It was decorated throughout with woodcut prints and covered so many things, from a literal garden lore to basic unintentional witchcraft practices to actual useful gardening tips. Nothing, however, stuck with me as Nothing, however, stuck with me as much as a little paragraph about the protection offered by apple trees. When an apple tree is planted, the name of Asmodeus, the devil who tempted Eve, unless you believe it was the she-devil Lilith, should be written on the earth and canceled with a cross. Throughout my life, I've planted quite a few apple trees and have remembered this basic ritual. Apples have a rich magical lore, being a major part of the harvest season. Instead of banishing Lilith, as is common in many texts, we will call on her for fertility, protection, and guidance. Apples are an abundant, fertile fruit that will bless you over again with love magic, prosperity magic, baneful magic, and pretty much everything in between. Due to the incoming weather, the autumn equinox is not the best time to plant an apple tree. However, it is a great time to partake in apple picking or make candied apples. During autumn, there should be a comma. Apples are abundant and can be used anytime to invoke and welcome the intelligence and protection of Lilith. That is a weird connection. I've never heard that connection, that it was Lilith who tempted Eve. One of my absolute favorite parts about fall, an apple a day is the name of the ritual. One of my absolute favorite parts about fall, as if I could pick just one, is apple picking. There is something about driving out to an apple orchard, picking apples from old trees, getting cider and fresh apple cinnamon donuts that just automatically bumps the experience up way past what any other season can offer. Stolen from my childhood, we don't have many apple orchards in South Florida. Apple picking is something I fell dearly in love with when I moved to New England. In terms of witchcraft, apples have a wide range of talents they can lend themselves to. Apples can help bring in prosperity, their seeds can be used for protection, and they can be used as offering during the harvest months. If cut in half horizontally, the seeds often form a pentacle shape. That is true. The only drawback about apple picking is that I always pick too much. I live for the experience and I get too excited, honestly. My friends tend to make fun of me, but when you do something for the first time as an adult, you have to make up for lost time. Coming home with all these apples in the fall had me wondering what on earth I could do with them. The obvious answer to me was to make a pie, but there were still some left over after the pie. Enter apple candle holders. I'm not the inventor of this idea, as I'm sure people have been doing it for as long as there have been apples. Candles. Apples and candles. But what I can say is that these candle holders make the most beautiful Mabon altar decorations and can be used inside and outside. You will need red apples because they look the best and tend to be sweeter. Taper or a tea light candle, a Sharpie, a paring knife, and some lemon juice. Hold your candle to an apple. Take your Sharpie and mark where you want it to go. With your paring knife, carve out the place where the candle will fit. Once the top part has been removed, put some lemon juice on the apple to keep it from browning. If using a taper, let it dry a little bit and then drip some wax in the apple to secure the candle in place. If using a tea light candle, drop it in and enjoy your new candle holder. These candle holders can last up to a few days. No such thing as too many apples. I don't know. I have been in a situation where I have had leftover apples even after all of my happy things. All right. The non-traditional year. They always say let me try this again. They always say time changes things, but you actually have to change them yourself. Andy Warhol. Enough imagination to sin. Mm-hmm. The neo-pagan wheel of the year is comfortable. It's beloved to many and observed quite literally 8 times a year. It has festivals from various cultures, themes that have potential to feel like home. Sorry, I just got a Discord notification that cracks me up. I do have pizza. All right. And yet, it didn't always seem that way to me. This is something I have personally struggled with and come back to time and time again as a pagan. What does it mean to be connected to the Wheel of the Year if the Wheel of the Year isn't connected to me? It makes sense when you think about it. The Wheel of the Year, as we know it, was made in England. I currently live in the tropics. Prior to this, I lived in an area of Montana that has a climate classification of continental subarctic, which means that on average, it only has 50 to 90 days in the whole year with an average temperature of 63 degrees. Having lived in 2 polar extremes in terms of climate and temperature has left me feeling really misplaced amid the Wheel of the Year. People were watching leaves fall while I was either snowed in or on a beach. Something had to give. All over the world, there are pagans and witches living in places that do not align with the Wheel of the Year. These are places that do not follow 4 set seasons, and sometimes don't even follow the seasons they're supposed to. For example, Death Valley in the southwest averages about 2 inches of rainfall a year. There are countless examples of unique climates across the country and the planet. Learning how to work with them versus against them will allow us to enjoy practicing the Wheel of the Year again. You just understood why that was so funny, yeah. A brief overview of the Wheel of the Year. There are lots of terms for the Wheel of the Year, and sometimes it can get confusing. Knowing the ins and outs of the wheel is what will lay the foundations for us to change to suit to our needs. So it is important to go over some of the basics. The Wheel of the Year is comprised of 8 sabbats, or holidays. The 8 sabbats of the wheel of the year are comprised of 4 quarter dates and 4 cross-quarter dates. One notable difference between quarter days and cross-quarter days is that the quarter days move, whereas the cross-quarter days are nearly fixed. Quarter days include the spring and fall equinox and the winter and summer solstice. Cross-quarter days are the Celtic fire festivals that fall halfway in between the quarter days. Samhain, Imbolc, Beltane, and Lusagna. Lugnasaf. Jeez. The 8 sabbats of the Wheel of the Year are, once again, Samhain, or Halloween, or, it's All Saints Day. Yule, which is the winter solstice. Imbolc, which is February 1st, basically Groundhog's Day. Ostara, which is the spring equinox. That is our relation to Easter. It's about a month earlier than Easter, really. Beltane, which is May 1st, i.e. May Day. Litha, or Midsummer, which is summer solstice. Lugnasath, which is August 1st, also known as Lammas. Well, also celebrated at the same time as Lammas, so they are not names for the same event. They just happen at the same time. And Mabon, the fall equinox. Wheel of the Year problems. The sabbats seem pretty universal, right? We all get a solstice and an equinox after all. While this is true and every pagan experiences these celestial events, not every pagan experiences the Wheel of the Year as it is written. For example, Yule, the winter solstice, is hallmarked with winter lore. It is a winter festival. To witches who live anywhere in the world where it does not snow, connecting to the specific lore of a Germanic holiday becomes difficult, if not somewhat painful. Hi, Jenny. Good to see you, love. Each sabbat on the Wheel of the Year has similar issues. Outside of fairly specific climates, Western Europe, New England, etc., the Wheel of the Year really doesn't make much sense. I can connect with an equinox. However, I am unable to connect with the fall theme surrounding the equinox. In a world where everyone enjoys showcasing their spiritual practice to an online audience, this can create a lot of guilt in witches who think maybe they're not doing enough when in reality they're just not being called to connect to the Wheel of the Year the way that it is written for Wiccans. Oh, good morning, Natalie Locke. Good to see you, love. This may be something that you haven't heard before, so let me say it loudly. It is okay to change the Wheel of the Year in your personal practice. It should be expected and encouraged for you to take initiative to connect to the earth in your earth-based religion. My personal Wheel of the Year observes 12 degrees split between two halves instead of the traditional 8. I choose to split my Wheel of the Year up into months because I feel like it gives me a better grasp on what is happening and allows me to really see the earth where I am right now. Additionally, choosing to split up my Wheel of the Year has allowed me to let it travel wherever I go. The first flower of spring is never announced with loud fanfare, but it breaks through the ground all the same. Celebrating the energy of the earth, in my opinion, shouldn't be delegated to just a few specific days. These sabbats do find a home on my Wheel of the Year, but they are not the focus of my year. Yay! Hi, everybody! Yay! Instead, my Wheel of the Year has become a year of the witch, something that supports me and my journey through earth-based paganism. I went through many years, nearly my whole time as a witch actually, without any gods, and chose instead to focus on the local spirits that surrounded my area and interacted with me daily. This looked like making starfruit wine after a particularly good harvest season and sharing it around a bonfire with friends. It also looks like making every harvest and supermoon something to be celebrated and revered. Harvest moons indicate a change of the season, a time to celebrate as we turn into the next book on the Wheel of the Year. In the next chapter, we will go in better detail ways to look at the Wheel of the Year and customize it for your specific path. Down south. Because of the seasons being so different in the southern hemisphere, it begs the question of how to observe the Wheel of the Year there. In general, there are two types of solutions for this problem. Some people believe that the pagan holidays in the Wheel of the Year should be celebrated as the original cultures intended them to be. For example, Yule would be celebrated in December regardless of what hemisphere you're in. You would still bring in your tree. You would still decorate it regardless of whether it is winter or summer outside. The second camp of thought is that paganism is a nature-based spiritual practice. This means that to practice the religion and spirituality, you only have to follow nature. Since nature is in summer where you are, you would celebrate the summer holidays instead of the winter holidays. There's not really a good solution here. In my opinion, it would be up to the individual witch to decide how they're going to celebrate the Wheel of the Year. It is important to them to observe cultural traditions with the Wheel of the Year, when those witches would probably observe the festivals in the same way as someone in the Northern Hemisphere would. Goodness gracious. Because to them, the festival is much about the culture that created it as a festival itself. Others, though, would prefer to celebrate the cycles and seasons and harvests as they are where they live. There really is no right or wrong answer here. Hey, Raven. It is just personal preference. No matter which hemisphere you live in, you're going to experience winter and summer solstice and spring and autumn equinox. You're also going to experience your own unique harvest cycles. So how do you celebrate a winter holiday during the summer months? Perhaps you don't. Listen to the earth around you. Feel its energy. As you acknowledge and celebrate the changes on the other side of the world, remember to carve out a little space to appreciate and revere where you are now. Creating your own wheel. Last chapter. Creativity strikes us when we are least expecting it. If you'd have told me when I was first starting out that I would be drastically deviating from the neo-pagan Wheel of the Year I first learned, I would have called you a liar. I mean, that's the Wheel of the Year. But when the universe calls, it's important to slow down and listen. Growing up, my family celebrated nearly any festival, holiday, and holy day that was printed on a calendar. My mom paid extra attention to saint feast days, and her favorite holidays were Christmas and Halloween, in that order. The decorations for any holiday would come out weeks in advance, and she would cook themed dinners. Still to this day, I find myself traumatized after one particular Halloween when she decided to throw a haunted house in our driveway. Hey Spence, your test is worky. Now to play the home game. Am I sweating because of exertion or because I'm feverish? Or neither? Maybe. Maybe your heat is going crazy. Yes, your test is successful. How's it going, love? She cooked spaghetti and put it in the fridge to cool. There was also a bowl of eyes, which I think might have been small hard-boiled eggs, or maybe peeled grapes? ? All I know is that I ran screaming from my house after my mother made me stick my hand in a bowl full of spaghetti brains. A few years back, I really started to analyze myself, my spirituality, and why I did things the way I did, the things I did, and believed in certain things. One of the elements I looked at the hardest was the Wheel of the Year. It didn't fit. Was I still obligated to use it to be pagan or a witch? The answer is a resounding no. This wheel was only created a little over 60 years ago, and you can deviate from it as much as or as little as you'd like, and it still be a real witch. Quote, end quote. When the English Wiccans decided to put their calendar together, they sourced most of the holidays from the Irish, Scottish, Welsh, and Germanic peoples. Not only did they take these holidays out of their original context with the original gods, but they gave no credit to the cultures and origins of the festivals, leaving many gaps in practice. It's taken many years for the wider pagan community to unravel the wheel and gain insight into the origins of the festivals. Oh. Where's my posture check there, Nightbot? There is a huge secret in modern paganism. You don't actually have to celebrate the festivals at the same time everybody else does. I personally don't celebrate most of the harvest festivals when the rest of the world does because it doesn't make sense for the climate I live in. August 1st is the Wheat Harvest Festival Lamas or Lugnasoth. South Florida is hot as hell in early August. We're not harvesting wheat here, and we're certainly not baking bread. So this holiday is basically excluded from my wheel. Sometimes I do acknowledge it if I'm on vacation up north because it's fun, but otherwise it's not really a part of my practice. The wheel you create is as flexible as you are. Some religious and spiritual holidays aren't super flexible. The celestial events aren't either. The solstice will always be on the solstice, for instance. However, you get the freedom to choose when and how you will observe these traditions in your own practice. The wheel is ever turning, and it is malleable as you are. Just because you decide something about your wheel today doesn't mean you can't adjust it at a later date if need be. When we first start building our wheel of the year and actually using it, it is really important to keep a written record. What festivals and celebrations have you partaken in, and would you do them again? Which parts were super fun and what made them so? Was it the schedule of events, the rituals you performed, the people you celebrated with, all of the above? I feel this. I tend to more celebrate the beginning of the year on my birthday rather than on the calendar year because that's technically when the year starts for me. Yeah, sure. Although that might not be the same thing the book's... No, that is exactly the same thing the book's talking about. Absolutely. Like the rest of the world counting January 1st as the beginning of the year, as opposed to the Wiccan Samhain, right? And it makes sense to start a year off of your life if your life is subjective, which it very much so is. Let's see. As we go through life, we are constantly taking in new information and shifting the way we handle things. If you discover new gods or goddesses along the way, we call them vatrons in our chaos group. Or end up finding out things about your ancestry you didn't know previously, you are able to incorporate those elements into your wheel without much stress. When you move to a new place, you can either shift or create a whole new wheel that fits your new climate and routine. This allows you to have freedom not only in your practice, but also in your personal life. More directly in line with the book, I used to celebrate the harvest when the old Libra Scorpio party took place. Oh, yeah. Which has kind of left me bereft since that party went by the wayside. Yeah. Back in the asylum days, right? There are tons of pagan holidays outside of the 8 that were picked to be on the Wheel of the Year. The exhaustive source, Religious Holidays and Calendars, lists 31 pagan holidays, not to mention tons of other festivals and holidays from any of the other religions. When you are creating your wheel, you are master of your ship. If you want to incorporate religious holidays from your culture, there is literally nothing that prevents you from doing that. Part of the reason that my wheel has 12 points instead of 8 was so that I could incorporate other religious holy days into my wheel. The best way to start creating your own wheel is to get a little crafty. Similar to how you make a mood board or a Pinterest board, you're going to make a board for the Wheel of the Year. You'll need some pictures, paper, scissors, and glue. I find that doing this by hand rather than digitally makes it feel more real when it comes time to actually build the wheel. Start with January. Write down all of your thoughts related to that month. Then proceed through all the rest of the months. Here's an example of what my list looks like living in a warm, humid South Florida. January is mild weather, beaches, Art Deco Festival, Valencia orange season begins. February is Man of War fish, cool weather, food and wine, strawberry picking. March, Irish music, overcast, rainy. Miami Carnival, melon season begins. April, bright sunshine but not humid. My birthday, tax time, blueberry season begins. May is hot, stressed, sun is bright but not obnoxious, mango season begins. June is rainy, hot, humid, avocado season begins. July is hot, humid, rainy, watermelon, good sunlight, plants get injured in the afternoon sun, fireworks, passion fruit season begins. August is hot, humid, don't go outside, grape season begins, cotton candy grapes at Publix. October, Halloween season, best light, books, navel orange season begins. November, daylight savings time, best light, early sunsets, dragon fruit season ends. And December is cool, dry, blue-toned light, pomelo season begins. Still in touch with a lot of asylum people, but it isn't the same without the madcap gathering. Yeah, if I get a big windfall and the pandemic fucks off, I'm starting that up again. I would come and help celebrate. I'd come out to see you guys. I keep in contact with Irene. So that would be a wonderful holiday to revive. Once you've completed your list, add what you consider to be spiritual elements for each of the months. Below is an example of how I personally see the year based on where I live and my personal life experience. I also like to assign an element that I relate to each month to make it easier to create spell work and rituals. These elements change and shift through time and location. I would expect that your elemental choices will look different than mine. Not only do I want that, but I encourage you to make your own connections and truly take the reins in creating a wheel that works for you and your magic. All right, see you later, Bonnie. I tend to really notice the lighting during the year. It's not overcast where I live. It's not cold. There's no snow. There's no death. There's literally no dormant season in Florida, and if anything, our winter is the most productive season. This is the time when you get to go through all of the holidays and festivals and see which ones align with how you view the year. Create a separate list in the same way as your spiritual notes and thoughts for the months of the year. So here's mine, for example, which, you know, uh, I don't know that I want to read it out loud. But she has the months listed. She has descriptors of each month, and then she's got elements like earth, air, fire, water, spirit. Earth, air, fire, water. Excuse me. She doesn't include spirit. Assigned to each month. Last, take note of any particular cultural traditions and established festivals you might want to incorporate. These can be secular, religious, spiritual, or even family bound. If you want to hold a spiritual observance on September 11th every year as part of your calendar, you have the freedom to do so. Days of large-scale remembrance often come with a thinning of the veil, and I have no doubt that over time the American people have worn their veil thin on that day. Family events that may be added to your year of the witch can include birthdays, anniversaries, death days, recovery markers, etc. These days hold personal significance, and when added to our wheels, allows us to maintain connections with our emotional needs as well as our spiritual ones. Merging these ideas and concepts, I've been thinking about rearranging my calendar next year to make Lamasse my new start or end of the year. It's also my dad's birthday and wind up to my busy season versus Samhain, which is mid-chaos. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Sometimes July is a start. Like, that's my 6-month mark. So I try and bullet journal all in the same book, but sometimes I have to split it, especially now that I'm doing dailies. Sometimes I have to split it into several books. So I divvy up the year by 6 months or so. Sometimes 3, depending on the size of the book. Merging these ideas and concepts into one fluid wheel is the most exciting part of your craft. Is it? It does away with the pressure of doing things the right way when you first start. Creating a system that works for you allows the energy of your spirit and your ancestors' spirit to flow freely. Remember those pictures and magazines I talked about earlier? It's time to create a mood board. For each month, take a look at what you've described above. What are the characteristics you associate with each month? What do those characteristics look like? Give yourself free range to create a collage for each month. Use words, pictures, and your intuition to create your own piece of the year. Take a look at my wheel in written form. Yeah. Take a look at my wheel in written form below. You can see that some of the modern pagan celebrations are not here, specifically Lugnasoth and Imbolc. To me, neither of these festivals really aligns with the nature I experience in a daily basis. Additionally, I observe 3 harvests specific to my climate: mango harvest, avocado harvest, and orange harvest. I have a mix of secular and religious holidays, and I observe the changing of the hurricane season and the normal season as my primary method of organization. My wheel also isn't a circle, but more of a tiered priority system. This is the wheel that works for me and where I am in my life physically, mentally, and spiritually. Your chart will no doubt look different. Have fun filling it in and deciding when and how you want to celebrate it. Remember, there is no wrong way. Be yourself. Temperance's Wheel of the Year. Hurricane season, avocado harvest, mango harvest, Litha, Mabon, days of mourning in September, Yom Kippur, it's an interesting holiday to celebrate, Samhain, orange harvest, not hurricane season, orange harvest, Yule, St. Valentine's Day, Ostara, my birthday, shark season, and Beltane. After looking at so hurricane season starts in June, by the way, so that means her year starts in June. After looking at my wheel, take a second to really evaluate the holidays you plan to work with. Where do they fit in? Do they have their own independence? Or are they tied to a larger season like how mine are all tied to hurricane season? Hurricane season is a time of year with increased rainfall, so I like to pay reverence to the coming storm season. If your wheel could look like anything, what would you have on it? Creating new seasonal traditions. That last part of creating and crafting your own wheel of the year is creating seasonal traditions that you not only observe, but you fully invest in and pass down. When I was first married, I spent the Yule season at my in-laws' house. Every night, my mother-in-law sat down in front of the TV and created a beautiful needlepoint Christmas ornament. As it turns out, she had made one for every year that she had been married. The ornaments were all themed and reflected a major life event with their marriage or lives. When I asked her about why she did this, she told me that when she first married, she was given a book of traditions to start a new family. There were 3 that she kept, including the needlepoint ornaments, Thanksgiving Day bread, and Christmas bread. As a result of starting these new traditions, all of her children now incorporate them as well. Her daughters are all married, and each of them has started a family needlepoint ornament collection. Additionally, every child has learned the recipes for Thanksgiving Day bread and Christmas bread. Watching these traditions start in one generation and be passed down 2 generations showed me a level of stability and love that I hadn't experienced before. Passing down traditions from one generation to the next is how the love of all of our ancestors survive. When you start a new family tradition, it can be as simple as saying, "We eat fresh baked bread on Lammas," or as complex as taking 25 days to hand stitch an ornament for the Yule tree. The biggest catalyst for creating traditions and practices surrounding the Wheel of the Year was when I became pregnant. I had been living outside of the boundaries of family for over 10 years at that point, having been orphaned as a child. I began to evaluate traditions and their importance to me and my growing family. What were things that I had done as a child that I could revamp now? To me, the Wheel of the Year starts on Samhain. So that is where I started looking. I revived the family version of the Dumb Supper that I grew up knowing and loving. I moved into the orange harvest season next, which I have enjoyed incorporating into my yearly devotions. Where the North has apple picking, Florida has citrus U-pick. Taking home bags of fresh oranges has its benefits. Pomander altar balls. Pomander balls are oranges that are covered with cloves in a decorative pattern. They are typically associated with the Yuletide season, but having picked them in November means I can make pomander balls with my daughter for our seasonal altar to last through the season. Growing up, Yuletide became a time when the hearth took priority in my home. If there weren't cookies in the oven, there was a pie or a cake. Nights were spent as a family watching old Christmas movies and reading books together. The value of Yuletide became presence, not presents. Like presence as in like being there, as opposed to presents like in a box. Moving into the new calendar year, we observe the feast of St. Valentine by cooking meals at home for each other. During Ostara, I drag my family and friends down to the local plant nursery to pick out the plants we want to grow through midsummer, and I'll occasionally pick up seeds for fall too. Planting seedlings in the garden allows for smaller children to be excited about creating and maintaining a small piece of the earth. In April, we celebrate birthdays and welcome sharks to our waters. Sharks are a critical piece to the South Florida ocean life cycle, and I pray for their safety away from poachers. As the cycle starts again, I like to go to the beach and pick up trash that would otherwise end up in the ocean. I am devoted to a sea god, so I give my time in acts of service to try and help the health of my local waterways. I do something similar, though I don't. That's more of like an earth spirit sort of homage. Each part of the wheel of the year has something small but significant that I can do to reaffirm my devotion to my path. Being in a ritual mode 24/7 isn't a sustainable or authentic practice for me personally. I find that I am much more spiritually productive when I get time to be outside in nature, creating and healing. Envision yourself during a harvest or holiday season when you want to start a tradition. What are you doing and who is with you? Final thoughts. As I wind down in writing, I think it's fair to say the true work has just begun. The wheel of the year starts here, and it starts right now. How we use opportunities that we are given to positively change the world matter. What would happen to your practice if you were forced to move tomorrow? Would you be able to support your craft in a new setting with different lands, spirits, elements, and climates? Or would you find yourself struggling like a fish out of water, trying to connect using methods that are no longer effective for where you are? A connected wheel of the year practice is extremely grassroots in that it encourages you to become one with the land that you are on, to touch and experience everything that the earth has to offer you while staying grounded to the only constant that there is, time. It doesn't matter if you build a fancy aesthetic altar or prefer to get your daily dose of spirituality outdoors. What matters is that you take the time every day to push yourself and grow deeper in your craft. We are the only ones who are responsible for how far we go on that pathway that we walk. It is surreal to be finishing this book, having written and struggled over every word in it. However, I think it is increasingly important to have perspective from new voices on every topic in witchcraft, pagan, and the New Age umbrella. I was approached recently by a woman who felt as though she needed to tell me that new witchcraft books are not worth buying. Her thought was that if you have to read it before, you don't need to read it again. What more could you learn on candle magic or water witchcraft or the wheel of the year? How many books need to come out to say the same thing? But I think that opinion is rooted in ignorance. There will always be something new to bring to the table in the world of spirituality. Each person has a unique and divine connection to the universe that makes their narrative special. My narrative has been learning how to navigate and love the wheel of the year, even when I want to dislike it or feel constrained by it. It is my perspective that melds bits of science with bits of history and narrative that is uniquely my own. So quietly, this book concludes. The wheel of the year keeps turning, the sun will keep growing in the sky, heavy with possibility. Then it will recede and all but vanish. And then, just when we think all is lost, it will start again, and we will know we are found in our place among nature. We, as witches, will rejoice nature not as masters of it, but as defenders and champions. Where will you be? So that was Wheel of the Year by Temperance Alden. I would say a pretty good book. I will probably make my Wheel of the Year at some juncture today or tomorrow or this weekend. Hey, BC Brown. Oh, I didn't realize I was over the hour. Oh, I was so excited to get to the end of the book. The wheel of the year keeps on turning. Oh, I don't know where I'll be tomorrow. Because I have like Buddhist days. Like the January New Year is a really big deal in Buddhism. Oh, kitty butt. She's getting cozy. That joke started in my head just before I saw you posted. Serves me right for doing work training while only half listening to the stream. Thank you all for joining me for Year of the Witch. I do have a couple of books that are the underworld for hedge writing and the upper worlds for hedge writing. So I might go into that. There are a lot of greenhorns still yet, even now in my group. So maybe I will break out Ray Buckland's book, Ray Buckland's Big Blue Book of Wicca, and I can comment how some things have worked for me and how some things have not worked for me. And there are exercises in it that we will do and all of those things. Glad you went a little over today so I could pop in and say hi. Hi, BC. I am surprised that you are here. Always glad to join you. Outside of work, this is all about all the socialization that I get these days. Yeah. No kidding. We miss you. We miss you for werewolf things. Thank you for joining me for this book. I will probably start with the Big Book of Wicca. There is some wonky stuff surrounding that book that I will probably mention tomorrow when I come downstairs with it. Today we discussed Mabon. We discussed making your own wheel of the year. We discussed ways to go about doing that, and we wrapped up the book. Tomorrow we will look into some core teachings of Wicca that maybe people will learn some of the same things I did. And I guess I will catch you guys on the flip side.